right. So I would think that most of my subscribers are aware of what is exactly the issue going on in this footage right here. And the issue is simply just the fact that there's not really a practical way to attach weights onto a VR controller, aside from tape. But as you can see in the footage, if I try to carry more than a certain amount of weight, I should just expect the tape to eventually degrade to the point where it just snaps. But I have found a solution to this, and I have actually had to create a solution for this because, well, like, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person who is trying to make getting physically stronger a part of their gaming experience, which means there was no one else who was going to solve this problem for me. So that is what I would like to get into today. And to properly get into this, I would say the best place to start is obviously from the beginning. And the first thing that I thought I would need for this project was a 3D printer. And so I bought one. This was quite literally the only easy part of this whole project, because the next thing that I would need to do is actually be able to create something for the 3D printer to print out, which means that I would need to learn how to use a 3D modeling software. And that was honestly the hardest part of this whole project, because I downloaded Blender and it was just so complicated to do anything, because you need to memorize a bunch of keybinds just to do the most basic of stuff. Like the tutorial that I was watching literally recommended to print out a piece of paper that shows all the basic keybinds to just operate this software. But eventually though, I was able to acquire enough knowledge to create this. And so the idea behind this 3D model that I had printed out was basically just that I was going to take the handle of my dumbbells and just stick it into the hole. And I was honestly surprised on how well it fit into this thing, especially considering that this was the first 3D model that I had ever designed. And it honestly worked better than I could have ever expected it to. It just holds this handle perfectly. But now we have to actually find a way to attach this model that I've created to my VR controllers. And honestly, this was not that big of a challenge, because I didn't really have to even design anything myself. All what I had to do was just find a grip that someone else had created for the Quest 2 VR controllers, and I just printed out to see if it was actually good. I tested out a couple of them, and I decided that the one that you're seeing right here was the best one. There was some problems with this grip, considering that this gets in the way of the buttons, but it's nothing that I can't fix. And the real issue that we have to solve is how I'm going to attach this to the model that I've created. But in actuality, this was not going to be an issue at all, since I had already decided that I was going to attach these two things together like this. And the reason why I'm attaching it together here is because it's just the easiest place to attach the two objects together. My thought process was not more sophisticated than that when trying to figure this out. And so since I knew what I was going to do, I hopped back on Blender, got all the models that I needed together on one file, and then looked up some tutorials on how to slice things and merge them together. And after I was able to successfully do that, I was pretty much done. I was thinking about changing the design up a bit, but then I decided, you know what? A gun with weights just hanging off of it, that's kind of cool, and I don't feel like working on this anymore. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is. So now all what I got to do is print this thing out. And so that is what I did. I started printing it out, and I thought this should have been like the smoothest part of this whole project. But unfortunately, this new filament that I had bought had other things in mind, because as you can see, the thing being 3D printed is like this blue color. But it's not just blue, it also glows in the dark. But unfortunately, this glow-in-the-dark filament just straight up sucks, because after I was finished printing this controller grip, the nozzle got clogged with the glow-in-the-dark filament, so I had to take out the nozzle, unclog it, but that wasn't the only problem. The filament literally destroyed this nozzle, because when I tried printing out the other controller grip, it just wasn't able to finish the print just because of how damaged the nozzle was. And yeah, just look at the quality of what it was able to print. It sucks. Like, the plastic is just chewed up, and if you look at this angle, you can literally see through it. I'm honestly disappointed because I thought this glow-in-the-dark filament would have been cool, but it just has caused me so many problems. But eventually though, I fixed up everything and then printed out my second controller grip. And now all what we needed to do was to test this creation of mine. I sometimes hate Steam VR. Bro. This can't be. No! Are you kidding me? Why am I so short? Well, this thing didn't last long. It's broken. Are you kidding me? So yeah, as you can see, testing this out didn't really go that well because it broke almost immediately. But the good thing about this is, the reason why it broke wasn't because it couldn't handle any weight, it was because I literally kicked it in. So it breaking wasn't that big of a deal. All what I did was I printed out a new one to replace this broken one. But aside from that, I would say that overall, these weighted controller grips are a complete success. These things work exactly the way I wanted them to work. There are some problems that I have with them, but I only encounter those problems when I'm carrying a bunch of weight. The first problem doesn't really have anything to do with the grips, but it has to do with the Oculus Quest 2 controllers. Because if you look at the Oculus Quest 2, it has this ring on the controller, which was good at first because I was using that ring to tape my weights onto the controllers. But now that I've created this, like, these are kind of pointless now. All what these rings do now is they're just a nuisance, because when I carry a bunch of weight, I'm not strong enough to stop them from sinking into my hand. And this causes me to get these bruises, and I really just don't like having these bruises. This problem isn't really that big of a deal, but if I replace my Oculus Quest 2 controllers, I'm definitely going to have to redesign the controller grips because these grips are designed to hold Oculus Quest 2 controllers, so that's going to be a hassle. The next problem I encountered was not really a problem with the grip. So I don't really have any problems with the grip. The grip is exactly what I wanted it to be. But if I look at this one, the one that's made out of this glow-in-the-dark blue material that I've already complained about, this one sucks. Because if you, like, the print quality is horrible. Like, if you look underneath here, you can see that it is not smooth. And when you use it with a lot of weight, it's like sandpaper. And so that has brutalized my finger. And a bigger issue with it is that it's weak. Because if you compare it to this black one, it is so much weaker. Because I don't even know the breaking point of this black one, but I do know the breaking point of this blue one, and it's around 30 pounds. Because if you look at this footage, it's broken. And I was carrying around 30 pounds on it. So, like, there's really no point in using it. It has only caused me problems. It has destroyed my printer, it has destroyed my hands, and it's not even good at the only job that it's designed to do, which is glow in the dark. Because in order to get it to glow in the dark like this, you have to shine a bright light directly at it for hours for it to get anywhere close to looking like what it does right here. And so I'm just going to never use this filament again because it sucks. So yeah, that's pretty much all the complaints that I can make with this thing that I've created. And honestly, none of these problems that I'm talking about are really that big of a deal, because I feel like this is the best thing that I could have created with the resources and skill set that I had at hand. So there's not really any reason for me to not be satisfied with this. Because, yes, it always could be better, but this thing is able to do its job just fine. So, I honestly think, at least for now, that is good enough. And with that, I believe I've been able to cover everything that I need to. But before I decide to put an end to this video, I think that I should try to answer a question that some viewers of mine might be wondering. And that question is simply, is this actually a good idea? Is trying to gain strength through playing Minecraft actually a good idea? Well, I can do this now. I wasn't able to do this before despite going to the gym. And so I'll just let you come to the conclusion if you think this is a good idea or not, because I was honestly surprised when I was just all of a sudden able to do this. Like, I didn't even know I was working out the muscle groups needed to even accomplish this, but it seems like I was. And with that, I believe I've covered everything that I needed to cover in this video. So yeah, for all the people who are not subscribed to me, make sure to check out my other content, because it's unlikely that I'm going to make another video like this, simply because I really can't see a reason that I would have to make a video that is similar to this one. But who knows? And to all my subscribers who've been waiting for another video, I apologize that it's taken this long for me to upload, but I'm going to try to upload more frequently. So until then, see you later.